Hey crafters, Lisa here from Fun Stuff Crafts. So glad you could join me for another Inspiration Friday. So this week we are going to be doing a little bit of sewing. So I had a subscriber reach out to me, I think sometime last month, and she was asking me, hey Lisa, I love your sewing tutorials, and I'm wondering if you have ever made a dish drying pad before. And you know, I really hadn't, and so I decided to do a little bit of looking around to see what's the best type of material to use for a dish drying pad, and just to see how other people were making them. And I discovered a really fun supply that I can't wait to show you what I use to make my dish drying pads. Now, I made one last month and I have used it so many times. I throw it in the washing machine, it washes up just great. And today we're going to be making one, getting ready for the Thanksgiving holiday coming up. So I really hope you enjoy this sewing tutorial. And hey, if this is your first time stopping by my channel, thanks so much for stopping by. Make sure you click on that subscribe button and click on the bell, and YouTube should alert you each time I upload a new video. We try to do it every Friday. That's why I call it Inspiration Friday. So hey, give me a second. I'm gonna get my camera angle changed. I'm gonna meet you at my sewing table and we are gonna get going on this project right away. So let's get started on this project. So I wanted to show you one that I made a couple months ago, and I have used this so many times in my kitchen. It's been washed multiple times and it just has held up great. So to do this project, the secret ingredient or the secret supply is, of all things, a car cleaning towel. So my husband purchases these to dry our car after he's washed it. And so we picked these up on Amazon. They're 6 in a pack and they're nice and heavy. So you're gonna need one of those for sure. Let me put this out of the way and I'll bring all the supplies in. This is a quick and easy project, you guys. So I have got one car cleaning towel, and the reason why I like using them is they are so absorbent. And when you're talking about drying your dishes, you don't want water on your countertops. These just soak up the water so nice. So I absolutely love it. Then it's fun to find a fun cotton print. So I thought I would make another one for myself. And since it is fall time and the holidays are coming, we host Thanksgiving at our house every year. And so I thought a new one with this cute little fabric would be really nice. I'm going to use my rotary blade to cut my fabric. And of course I need thread and a bobbin, and my sewing machine is off to the side. And of course, I'm always going to be using my handy dandy little clips. I've got my iron plugged in off to the side, and so we can just get going on this project. Like I said, this one comes together so quick and easy. So depending on the size of your car towel, your cleaning towel, is going to depend on the size of fabric you need. So if we go ahead and look at the towel I have, it is 24 inches by about 16, right at about 16. So I am going to cut my fabric that same size, and we are not going to trim off this trim at all. I did not do that in my original one, and I used that really to do the top stitching all the way around. So you could trim this up if you want, definitely. But I did not. So I'm going to cut a piece of fabric 24 inches by 16 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my fabric, and I'm going to see, I picked up, this is just a ½ yard of fabric. And so if I look at it, it's 18 inches right now, and it's really close to 24 already. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to just fold it in half. I always find it's nice to fold it in half when I am cutting with my rotary cutter. And so I'm just going to do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to fold this just so you guys can see everything in screen. So if I fold it in half and cut it at the 12, that's going to be 24 in length. So I'm just going to grab my ruler. That's one thing I didn't say that I would be using. I'm just going to throw my ruler there, and I'm going to cut. Now I'm going to bring mine over just a little bit so I cut that selvage off. So let's just go ahead and make sure I'm all the way over here. I'm just going to trim it up just a little bit there. So we are going to cut this to be 24 inches. So we've got 24 inches right now. And now we just need it to be 16 inches. So we're going to go, I'm just going to go ahead and fold it in half again, just so you guys can see all of this. I'm going to put that right on the edge of my mat there, and I'm going to cut it right at 16. These would make great gifts. I know I'm going to a bridal shower soon, and this would be a great little gift to get. You know, you could get some little gadgets for the kitchen, and you could throw one of these in. The other thing I think that's fun about this is they're so easy to make, and these card packs of towels come 6 to a pack. You could definitely make some for different seasons. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to put right sides together. So when I look at this towel, I can tell the wrong side is where the tag is. It's easy to be able to determine that. Now I will tell you that this fabric, the micro fabric that is the towel is made from, really sticks to your fabric. It really, I should say clings to it is more the right word. So you really got to play with it. What I have found is if I fold it up a little bit and then do it this way. Then all I'm going to do is I am going to clip, and to be perfectly honest with you guys, you probably don't even need to clip this because this fabric is just clinging to the other fabric. So I'm just going to clip it, and then what we're going to do is we are going to do, just like we've done in other projects, is we are going to mark a no-sew zone. So I'm just going to use a pin there and another pin just to use so I know that I do not want to sew there. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the guide of my towel, and I'm going to put my stitching all the way along there. Okay, so we're just going to go all the way. I'm going to take the sewing machine. I'm going to start. I'm going to back stitch. I'm going to stitch all the way around, and I'm going to stop, and I'm going to back stitch. So I'm going to run over the sewing machine really quick and do that, and then I'll come back and we'll turn this right sides out. Okay, so we're back, and I've done a seam all the way around, and I've got my opening now. So one thing that I do want to do is I can just trim these corners a little bit. Now, if you do not want the bulk in yours around the edges, you can definitely, you could have trimmed off that black that I've got on my towel. And if your towel doesn't come with that, don't worry about it. I just like it because once I turn it, it gives my mat just a little bit of an edge. So all we're going to do now is we are going to take right sides out. And I love how this yellow of the towel contrasts against my my material that I picked out. And see how I'm just pushing all out those corners. And again, this fabric wants to stick together, so, which is great when it comes time for drying, for sure. And there we have just about the makings of our towel. So let me take my cutting mat out of the way here. Let's get to my pressing mat. And I always get lots of questions about my pressing mat, and I do have a tutorial on how I made that. So if you're interested, I'll make sure I put the link down below. But this is where you just really want to play with this because everything wants to stick. And then what I like to do is I always like to put a clip, because we're going to top stitch this. I always like to put a clip so I know exactly where my opening is. so that I'll make sure when we come around that we will make sure that opening's closed. And you can definitely see, depending on how this lays, and this is where you really have to play with this, that yellow can show. And for me, that's great because I love how it looks with the fabric I picked. So I'm just going to give this a nice press. Iron turned off, so I'm just going to heat that back up. And I just want to make sure that it's laying nice and flat. And you have to play with it a little bit because that fabric does want to stick to your other fabric. Just going to give it a good press. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this over to the sewing machine and we are going to do a top stitch. So I'll meet you over at the sewing machine. We're at the sewing machine and I have placed my material in, or my pad in, and I am going to use the guide of my foot to guide me all the way around so I have a nice even seam top stitch. And so I'm going to put my foot down. I've increased my stitch length to 3.5. I always like to do that whenever I'm doing top stitching. I'm just going to do a quick little back stitch, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly just go right around, and I'm going to use that edge and sew all the way around and take it slow. Now I've got rounded corners, and so because I've got rounded corners, I'm not going to stop and sink my needle and turn. I'm just going really slow all the way around the project. So I'll just go ahead and finish that top stitching, and I'll show you what this all looks like when we have it all done. So all I'm going to do is trim that thread that I have there, and you guys, this project is done. So how quick and easy with it was that? You could easily whip out a bunch of these. These might be a great idea for bazaars. I love it. They just are so absorbent when you're talking about drying your dishes. And so now I have got 2 that I have made. And remember that the secret supply is a car wash towel. So I hope you enjoyed this Inspiration Friday. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Share it with your other sewing friends. And leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining me for another Inspiration Friday.